Okay, so this is the menu that I'm trying to copy right here. Is this one in particular? So it's got, you can see it's got some elements on there, some stylings that do certain things, crease in size. It's got some shading behind it. Right now it's a bit on the dark side, but that's just the way that I have my screen in dark mode, so it looks that way. So you see the different elements and things like that. You can see the separation from the document. So the z-index is a bit different. And if you understand z-index, that says if you're looking down at it, it's the order in which the items appear on the screen. So some of them, if you give them a higher z-index, it'll appear that it's popped out of the screen, kind of like a 3D style, and so you can throw some shading back there like this, like you see here. But what this is the nav bar is in transition of the color as well, because I've scrolled it down, and and we'll go ahead and get into how to style those up, and you'll start to see how it comes together. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get into the Visual Studio Code here. Okay, now we're back here. So you can see the effects um, from that particular picture. And so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to um, code up the stylings, and I'll try to explain it as we go. So now in the body, we want to do some things to make it a kind of a standard across it. So we have to write in our classes. I'll cover the classes. I just want you to watch what we're doing right now. So in the classes, because this is Tailwind CSS, is that these items are going to be inline, which is not ideal for learning development. Typically what you want to do is have a different style sheet and things like that. That way it helps you understand what the individual style elements are doing. But you'll be able to see here, and I'll try to explain it. So what these different elements do. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the background image. Background image. And let's make that's BG, background. Okay, and let's make that a gray. Um, let's give it a not a resolution, but this changes the shading of it. So we're going to give it an 800, which gives it that really darker shade of gray. Okay. Now let's set our height, minimum height. It's going to be the screen size, and for the font, we're going to use Montserrat. And we're going to make the text 3D. See how simple it is with this? It's really, really simple with tailwinds. Okay, so now that's going to be over the whole document we're going to have. Your basic font is going to be Montserrat and what have you. So now let's give the nav element a little bit of style to it. So we're going to give it an ID. And the reason we're going to give it an ID is so that later on we can put some custom styles to it, which is what we're going to have to do. Again, this isn't about memorization. This is just about just watching and learning. Okay, so nav, let's go ahead and call that navbar. You have to use your quotes. Now let's do within the class. Let's give it a z-index, like I was speaking of earlier. We'll give it a z-index of 20, so that it pops a little bit. We're going to make that navbar 3D. let's give it a little element of transparency on certain scrolls. Okay, and then let's go ahead and make the text white. So we'll go ahead and do that. White, text white, and let's give it a P3. And we will make it fixed. And let's go ahead and give it a full width. It'll fill the width first. And let's give that top side a 0 margin. Okay. Alright. Okay, now let's give this div a class of, let me see. Let's go ahead and make that a container. And again, I'll explain these afterwards. Let's go ahead and give it mx auto. And what that is your margin on your x-axis. So we're going to go ahead and set that to auto. We are going to use flexbox, so we're going to give it a flex. Let's go ahead and do a flex wrap on that too, so that your text will look appropriate on different screen sizes. And let's go ahead and do an items center. That will center it horizontally on the navbar. So we'll do that. And then let's go justify between. And what that's going to do is give it an even spacing between the letters and the text on there. Alright, so now let's go in and let's start to style our left menu items. So for now, I'll do what they call a scroll spy, but we're going to do that afterwards. That's going to be a different video altogether. So let's go ahead and just give it a pound. And what that'll do is just send it on home. So they're already treffed. Now, typically in there when you want to do, it'd be like a link to a page or something like that. Now let's go ahead after this. Make sure you give it a space. Go ahead and put a class in there. And let's go ahead and style this out. And we're going to make these block elements, I think, but I think I am actually going to need a div around this. Yeah, I'm going to put another div in here. I just think it's the right thing to do, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Tab it. I'm going to cut and paste. So let's cut that. And we'll go ahead and put that right here. Let's indent that. Let's get that lined up. Let's move this stuff too, because I like to keep it neat. Okay, and let's go ahead and style this div. This one, what we're going to do, we're going to put some stylings in here to make it functional on mobile screens. So that's just one of the things you have to do to make it responsive. So we're going to add some classes in there to do so. So we're going to go ahead and put a class of hidden and MD, which means medium. So on medium-sized screens and lower, that navbar is going to be hidden. And then let's go ahead and do a flex. Okay, because it's going to flex with the size of the viewport. And let's do a space x of 4. Let's do that. That'll be reasonable. I'm sorry. And then we're going to go ahead and do the hidden menu, and that's going to hide it on the smaller screens too. This is just going to bring out part of the elements of the, the mobile menu on the smaller viewpoints. And I think X space X4. That's your spacing on your X-axis, by the way. The space dash X dash 4 is the spacing of your text on your horizontal axis, your X-axis. Okay, so let's go ahead and move into these hrefs again. Now that I've got my div in place, so we're going to make these block elements. And again, that's a discussion for later. I'm just setting things up. We can put a P of 2. And let's do a rounded so they look a little bit better. And that's the rounding is going to be the shading around it when you hover over top of it. Basically, that's what we're doing here. So now we're going to add our hover element. Hover. Let's go with background. Let's go with gray. And this time, let's make the weight a little bit less. And when I say weight, I'm talking about the darkness, the depth of the color. The lighter, obviously, the lower the number, the lighter the color. Right? On this particular version I'm using here. So now let's make it a transition because we're transitioning colors, correct? So here we go, transitioning colors. Then let's give it a text, 3D. I think that'll do it for that one. And let's call this one, now we're just going to type it in. Let's call this one a home. And that'll be our first one. And let's get in here and let's get into this next one. Okay, now you're putting it right here and you can see what I'm doing. Class equals, double quotes, get into them quotes. Pay attention to that because you're going to spell a bunch of stuff out, but this will show you, your screen will show you when you're doing that kind of stuff. So now I'm going to type these back out again. I mean, I could, honestly, I think I'm just going to copy and paste. You get the gist of it. Now let's go with yours. Let's get back up here. Let's type this out. What do we want to call this? How about unique? Well, we're doing it just like what's on there. Unique rentals. All right, and then the next one. Let's call the next one the same. We'll call it the same. Affiliate services. Okay. All right, so there's that. Now let's go down to the logo, the logo center, and let's go ahead and get that one going. So we're going to put a little styling in the div. We're going to give this one a flex because it's going to be a flex box. So let's flex that. Also, we want it to be center, so justify center. Let's see. We also want the width to be full. I want that to fill first. Now on medium screens, viewports rather, let's go with a width of auto. Flexbox is going to do it automatically for you. Oh, geez. I forgot to do this. Forgot to put my class in there. Sorry about that. There. Okay. Now let's go down to our href. And again, we're just going to do let's just do the pound sign for that one. It's just going to return home. So it won't go there because there's no link for it to go to. So let's give this a class equal to, let's make the text, let's go with the extra large screens, extra large, yeah, let's do that, extra large. We're going to make the font semi-bold. We don't want it to be overwhelming. Semi-bold, okay? And I think that's all we need for that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my logo. This is to actually add the image, and I'm going to give it an ID equal to logo, and I'm giving it that ID so that I can put some custom styles on it, like we spoke of before. And we'll get into that. Now, in the sources, this is where you put your image. So I'm just going to write image goes here. Okay, so if you'll have your link to your folder and what have you, and we'll be able to grab it off of the side over here and just put it in when you copy the photos, the images, the address, excuse me. And then your alt, I'm sorry, wait. I still need to do my classes and what have you. Now we're going to call it alt, and this is your alternative. This is for screen readers. So you probably want to put company logo in there as your description, or whatever you think is best for that. All right, now let's go ahead and assign it some classes. Class equals. How do we want this to look? Let's go with a custom height. And let's go, and let's give it a 22. That's gonna be pretty good size, I think. Yeah. 20, yeah, we'll do that. Okay. And then we're gonna set the width to auto. And then let's make that logo 3D, just like we saw on the example. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I think that's going to be enough for that one. And I think we are ready to go to our right menu items. So what we're going to do is let's get into this div. And let's go ahead and give this div a no, skip that. I think we're done with this video, and we're going to come back to the right menu items, and then the mobile menu button and the mobile menu items. We'll do those in the next video.